going to the right. I'd put her on the left side of the neck, go all the way around, and come up on her right.
Yeah, she does better if you go around. It's when you're coming from the front.
Yeah.
I just want her eye and ear on the right side. There.
Sorry, I'm distracting her.
No, you're okay. It's good. It's a good thing that you're being distracted. Because it helps me know where her mind is at. Again, she wants to put me then back on the left side. So there she's just kind of coming around. She's not necessarily blocking me. But what I want her to do, is come around me with her right rib cage. Instead of let's see if I can get it on the left. Good. So on the left, see how she's,
Mm-hmm.
I can get her to come around.
Yeah.
Okay? On the right, when I go to the right side, there. That's what I want. Except that she wants to fall to the left. So, and then she wants to go to you, wants to see other things. That's okay. Just don't push the tripod
Don't
over.
knock it over.
My friend's horse actually destroyed hers
Oh, boy.
working at Liberty. So what this tells me though is that we need to get more into releasing the right side. But she's clearly not afraid in here when she's loose. I know you got me on the left. I know.
I don't know what that sound is.
I don't know either.
Unless it's just wind picking up and they're like branches or something.
I think it's the branches. Those branches
It's
maybe
weird.
rubbing right
I
there.
didn't think there's, I mean, unless they're falling, I don't think there's anything touching this thing. We do have a cord that hangs from this corner that's going to be cameras. But sometimes if it's windy, it'll hit, so that might be it. I don't know.
So what I'm gonna do is now this gives me information that when I put this on and I start the work, we can sort
Okay,
Because when you do too much disengagement, you lose the power from the hind leg. And she's already got an issue with the power from the hind leg. So right now, what I'm gonna do is going right, I'm gonna find a wall that I can use. So I might go over there. So it's tricky because there are some horses that need that bending, but she knows how to disengage the hindquarters, but too much disengagement can cause cycle problems, and it can also, like used in excess, it can actually cause more harm than good, because you lose the straightness.
okay,
So, you want to do it as more of an exercise of obedience rather than for balance purposes. Now, if she was a horse that was super stiff, she was like kind of going really fast and she was really stiff, I would be more likely to do that, to disengage the hindquarter. But because she's actually almost too flexible, like here, I'm gonna ask her to stop straight. Yeah. Yeah. So she doesn't know. The reason that I think she gets more nervous with this on is because she doesn't have a lot of balance, so we have to teach her the balance. There we go. But I want her to go straight. There. So I don't want her to tip in when she goes. No. So, and I'm also, where I place my body also, good. Where I place my body also plays a role. So if I want to move a certain body part, I'm going to face my belly button towards that body part. Straighten. And release the leg. Release the leg. So she's also just very locked in the base of her neck. She doesn't want to release the neck down. So as soon as I ask her to release the neck down, she wants there. She wants to tip her shoulders. Here. Better. There. Good. So as soon as she lined up and she opened
Yep,
She's not tipping her shoulders in. So on the right, she wants to wing the haunches and get on the right shoulder. So that's the winging of the haunches there. So what I'm gonna do is try to get her to straighten her shoulders. Go forward. Yeah, I know. This is your typical stuff. So this is like she does. She has a fear of going forward. And the more I get into her rib cage and ask her to be balanced, the more of this is gonna come out because I'm trying to affect her balance. So she probably doesn't do it with you too, because I'm like really asking her to balance. Like I'm really asking her to be straight. Good girl. Here. I just asked you for 2 steps. Because if you automatically, and this is where a lot of the dressage people have a, which, I mean, I do both, but there's a lot of dressage people that have an issue with the whole spinning the hind end out. And they do have some right ideas about that, because if you constantly teach the haunches to disengage, you will always have a horse that's on the shoulders. They will never be able to lift the shoulders because they're always on them, because they're always spinning the hind end away from the shoulder. So going to the left, I'm going to keep her out in the open. I'm not going to use the wall as much, because I want to ask her to go out. So I want her to have room. On the right, I need to keep the haunches from winging. So when I go right, I'm going to, yes. Good. Good. And nothing. Just good. So what I want to do is I want to come from, with her in particular, I want straightness as much as possible. You heard one thing out there. You did. You heard one thing. Yeah. So I'm going to try to regain her confidence. Come back down here. It's leading. I'm trying as much as possible not to over-touch her face, because I don't want to retract her mouth. There we go. That's the only thing about the short rope that does suck, is when they do pull, they have a bit more leverage.
Yeah. So when you stop her on the circle, your goal is to have her kind of,
I want to whip out in front of her,
yep,
and I'm asking her to stop straight.
okay.
So, and she gets a little worried about that.
Yeah,
But that's just part of, she's just figuring it out. It's not that she's scared of it, she's figuring out what I want. Which is helpful to have on the wall.
yeah.
It's helpful to have a wall. But she seems to get a little more nervous on the wall, like when she's squeezed between the wall. So I also am like kind of trying to balance that. And I'm not expecting her to be perfect, but I'm going to expect much and accept little, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna. So here, really trying to affect the left rib cage, so I'm pointing my stick or my belly button towards the left rib cage, and I'm really trying to get as much forward energy as I can. So as soon as I go to ask her to stop in front, she gets nervous. And this isn't forever. It's not to say that you can't ask her to, disengage the hindquarters to stop ever. It's just that for this moment, I want to ask for straightness because she has such an issue with falling on the shoulders. Yeah. We're just going to not pay attention to that. Oh, that was pony friends.
We're out running around without her.
You're okay. You're okay. You're okay. You're okay. You're okay. Just take it a step even farther down, and I'm just gonna work the wall a little bit. You're very pushy. You're very pushy. Yeah, you are. You're very pushy. And your idea of going a few steps and then stopping, a few steps and stopping, it is a good idea, but at the same time, a lot of times horses can't find their balance unless they find a flow.
Right.
So like the first few steps are going to be quite unbalanced, and then if you stop before they find their flow, now they just never really find the flow of energy and the balance.
Well, my goal was for her to be able to trot on the circle without
Freaking out.
without going crazy. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, she's just figuring out where her balance is. Yeah. she's on a very emotionally, she's emotionally very fragile. Now I am gonna ask her, stop this way, 'cause I'm gonna change direction. So I would say, stop straight unless you're planning to change direction. Then if you change direction, then stop it like that. So I want her to pick up this right shoulder, so I'm facing my belly button towards the right shoulder. And I'm asking for her to move her haunches a little bit. So I'm gonna face my belly button towards her haunches. Up. No. You hear one thing and your first response is to kick at me. No. Good. Good. So it's as soon as I go to get into that right hind. She's got a real weakness on that right hind. I'm starting to realize the correlation. As soon as I get into the right hind, and I try to ask her to bring it up and forward, and that is every horse on the planet. The last client that I was just at, her horse has the same problem, but her horse's reaction is to go more forward, to
Okay.
get really fast. Her is to stop. So as soon as I go to try to get into that right hind, then she has a bit of a pain. So I do think my teacher's right. Her issue is just a fear going forward and a fear that she doesn't know how to use that right hind. So then when you ask her to go forward, which is why she has an easier time going to the left, because you're not as much engaging the right hind going left. Good. was way better. That's what I'm looking for.
Okay.
So when she feels the balance in her body, she automatically, so like her spinning the haunches is actually a fear mechanism. It's not an obedience thing, I think, as much as it is I lost my balance, I want to get on my shoulders where I feel more balance. Now she's lengthening the base of the neck now a little bit more. And good. So there she corrected herself. She felt herself falling in. I asked her not to, and she corrected it. It was good. There. That was a good lengthening of the neck. That was better. Move the shoulder. Back shoulder. So once you get the horse starting to balance more on their hindquarters, you freeze up the shoulder and then you can move it around. Which is the whole thing that everybody wants. They want collection, but they don't really realize that collection has nothing to do with the head and neck and everything to do with engaging the hindquarters. This is much better. Much better. Yep. Yes, Trisha. Good girl. This is much straighter now. Her neck is coming out. And notice her right hind's coming up now. There she lost it a little bit. See how when she loses it, her right hind shortens.
Yep.
So she had it for a few strides. Now I'm asking it to keep coming up. And then I think she gets worried. She kind of braces her body into me. Yep, good girl. See if we can get it again. Yep. There. There. There she braces. So I'm not gonna overcorrect for too much, but I also don't want to get in the habit of every time we stop, we wing the launch. It's okay, but I'm gonna leave it to your hand up. I'm gonna try to do 2 more circles each way, and then I think I'm gonna be done.
Okay.
You've got some really good ones. What did you hear?
Because I know right where they're at.
This is partially separation anxiety.
Yeah.
She's unsure. There. Wow. There. Good. Let's go the other way one more time. Good. She's starting to get straighter, which is awesome. Slowly but surely, and we are lengthening the neck. The neck is staying way more open today.
Yeah.
It's not jamming up into her shoulders. Get that right in there. So it's as soon as she goes a little more forward, she gets a little more energy. She's like, I'm 0 to 100.
Yeah.
It's as soon as she adds a little bit more energy that she panics about it. There, that's better with the right hand. We're gonna quit there while we're hot. Good. So, I think I figured out that the whole reaction is her reaction to me asking for the right hind to come forward. That's also why she doesn't want you on the right side, because she knows that you can then push up the right hind. And that's it's not an injury, it's not anything, it's a weakness, and they all are like that. They all have a weakness in their right hind. So, we just have to pick away at it very, very slowly. But for her threshold for what she can handle is very small. You know, it's like very small. So I can sort of, and I do energy work on horses, so like, that's my thing. So I might be just like, she's like, whoa, you've got a lot of energy, and you're placing it towards my right hind to try to ask it to come up, and I can't handle it. So but she has to eventually get to where she can handle it, because then when you're riding her, you're gonna be able to do the same thing. You're gonna say, okay, well, I want your hind legs to come up, and as soon as you ask for that, if her reaction is to freak out, well, and you might not even realize that you did anything, she might freak out.
Yeah.
So we wanna get that, figured out first. Weird.
What about doing some circles on some poles? Like if
Poles would be good. The other thing too is cones or barrels, or how you had the ball in here the one day.
yeah,
Like putting yourself on the opposite side of that, and then having her have a thing to go around.
okay,
But really, the whole thing with her is that, and you can see it, and when you watch the replay, really watch, when she's pushing up evenly on both hind legs, like both hind legs are coming up and meeting her front feet, okay? And she's tracking up. her neck comes down, she relaxes, and her steps get less erratic and more relaxed. As soon as she loses the impulsion from the right hind, and that stops working, that's when she like gets tense, and you'll see like her rib cage, her whole rib cage will tense, and it'll kind of step sideways toward me. And as soon as that happens, then when you go to like ask her to push it, that's when she kind of explodes. So what we need to do is figure out, okay, well how, and I might ask my teacher, like I might call her on the way home and just be like, okay, I've got this horse that's really sensitive, like when I go to push up the right hind, she sort of has a panic attack. I think that poles might make it worse because she's not only got to think about picking up her right hind, just normal, but she might actually like, now she's got to pick it up over a pole. So now she's even might become a little more reactive or worried because she's worried about where her feet are. Because really all this is a proprioception thing. This is her not really understanding where her feet are, and she's like, oh my God, I feel imbalanced. And you're asking me to be balanced, and when you ask me to be balanced, I'm having like, I'm worried about it. So we just have to make everything very clear, which is why I'm being more adamant about, hey, stop straight, because we just want everything to be like very clear with her, because she already is nervous when things are not 100% clear.
Yeah.
So if she thinks, okay, well, I'm gonna just swing my hind end every time I stop, well, then when you go to get on her, that will also be her reaction. So every time you stop, she'll want to swing her butt.
Yeah.
And then that will become like this thing where you're like, oh no, her butt's all over the place and I can't control it. So if we fix it now, later when we get to the riding, because what I want to do when I ride, when I start horses under saddle, I think I told you this, but I get them good on the lunge, walk, trot, and canter, and then when we go to put a rider on, we put the rider on, and the rider does nothing. So the rider just sits and stays still and doesn't do a whole lot. And then we start to add aids. Well, but if I can't get her to stop straight on the lunge and she's always turning, you can get yourself into trouble. Also, you can get yourself into trouble with that with long lining. So if every time you stop, they spin, now you're long line, now you can get entangled in the long lines. So I think that long lining might help her, but until she stops the whole bucking nonsense, you're gonna end up getting the ropes are gonna get tangled.
Yeah.
So then you might have a disaster.
Yeah.
So I wanna get her like really like, okay, comfortable with going forward, comfortable with, bringing up the right hind. I'm gonna ask Tina about what do I do for this right hind issue, and just text her like, hey. So we'll just see. But that ending was really good. We were able to get some good stuff. I'm not worried about the bucking, like, as in that I think